Welcome once again to Shelf Life Book Reviews Online. This time out, I'm bringing to your attention two great new fiction books. The first one is The Other Emily by Dean Koontz. Anyone who knows great writing is likely a fan of Dean Koontz. He has been writing since about 1975 or so. In fact, he began around the same time as Stephen King. And Dean Koontz, when he first began, he was pretty well a horror writer, and as Stephen King was. And he sort of evolved into psychological horrors and terror and suspense. And his latest is definitely that and more. By the way, this is published by Thomas and Mercer, and it retails for $34.99. This book looks at the life of David Thorne, who lost his wife, Emily, hence the title, about 10 years ago. She supposedly was murdered by a serial killer, Ronnie Lee Jessup. Her body was never found. Ronnie Lee Jessup was convicted and sent to prison, and David Thorne visits him in prison quite a bit, hoping he will get the final answers about the fate of Emily so he can have closure. In the meantime, David is out at a restaurant and he sees a woman and he swears it is Emily. It is like the doppelganger for Emily, and he talks to the woman. Her name is Madison. Now, Madison would be the same age as Emily was when she disappeared. It's as though time stood still. Madison seems to know a lot about David and about his life and his world. So it becomes quite the mystery as to who this woman is, and is she somehow Emily reincarnated, or Emily alive 10 years later without aging. There's a lot of interesting things going on as David hires a private investigator, and he finds out that she's connected to a man who died 7 years ago who's still alive. So it starts to make the reader wonder, is this a mystery thriller, or is this somehow a supernatural book as well? Madison and David fall in love, and she's very mysterious. She disappears. She tells David that she's going away, that she's an assassin, and she has to go away. So he does his investigation, and he discovers it's like she has a shrine to him. And a lot of interesting things happen. The ending is sort of like science fiction, but it definitely is worth the ride. And as we find out with a Dean Koontz book, nothing is as it seems. And this book is definitely one of his best he's written. Oh God, I think he must be in 60 books or so. And if you're looking for a quality book, this is definitely a book that you can't go wrong reading. The second book of note this time is The Drowning Kind by Jennifer McMahon. This is published by Simon & Schuster, and it retails for $24.99. This book is sort of like a classic ghost story, the type of books that you might have read when you were younger, and it has all the elements of a classic Gothic type tale. The book begins with two sisters, Jax and Lexi, who are in the pool of their grandmother's estate. They like to play the dead game, where they appear to, they hold their breath underwater and they float as if they're dead, and they're try to keep their eyes open. It's a rather macabre beginning, but anyways, Lexi has a few mental issues, and Jax leaves for the West Coast, and she finds out that Lexi has left a series of messages on her answering machine. The next day she discovers or hears that Lexi has died. She is drowned in the very same pool that they played in as children. Now, the pool is the focal point of the book. The grandmother's estate. The pool has water from a spring known as the Brandenburg Spring. And back in 1929, which the book alternates between 1929 and the present day, we find that Ethel Monroe back in 1929 was trying to get pregnant, and somehow she thought that the spring had like life-giving properties, that if you made a wish in the spring, your wish would come true. But at the same time, there was also the warning, what the spring gives, the spring takes back. So that's the ominous part. And as the book goes back and forth between past and present, we find present day, Jax seems to think that she sees her dead sister Lexi or other things in the pool or at the side of the pool. So it has that creepy vibe to it. And it makes you wonder, is this a mystery or a ghost story or a combination of both? The deeper we get into the book, the more we see the mystery continues, and there is ghostly appearances by several people long dead. And the Brandenburg Springs is really the key, as it flows into the grandmother's pool, and it brings a lot of horrible things. And as noted before, what the spring gives, the spring takes back. It might grant you a wish, but it wants something in return, and it almost seems to want your soul. So this is definitely a book that you will enjoy as much as The Other Emily by Dean Koontz. So those are the two books this week that I wanted to draw to your attention. So look them up when you're at your bookstore. So once again, thank you for watching us. Please send your comments, positive, negative. Watch these videos on either Facebook or YouTube. And also the reviews are on the Goodreads site as well too, under Paul Suter. So thank you again, and stay social distancing, stay well, stay sane, and stay safe, and above all, stay in touch. Thanks again. Bye for now.